everybody, welcome to another Anime Slushy. This is me, Cube.
I'm Phoenix.
So today, it's fucking my job again to describe an anime. Why aren't you watching enough anime, Phoenix?
I don't know.
You need to watch more weird anime.
I binged too hard on all the new stuff, and now I'm kind of burnt out. No, that's not true.
Oh, it's such hard work at watching all this anime.
Kind of is sometimes.
Yeah, depending on the show.
Yeah,
if it's fucking Asuka, that's real work. That's the
yeah.
trenches.
That was a toil.
But this one was surprisingly not bad work because it was actually pretty good.
Oh, yay. Our first good show.
Yeah, it happened.
Everyone stops listening immediately.
I want to hear about some fucking bullshit. Don't worry, I'm sure we'll get back to that soon, especially since I've been watching Elfen Lied again.
Ooh.
But this is not at all like Elfen Lied. This is a magical girl anime sponsored by Subaru.
Yeah. Now this is interesting because it has been the thing that we sort of talked about where there hasn't been a new magical girl property since Madoka that wasn't edgy nonsense.
Yeah.
But this might be the first one.
Yeah, though I think the original shorts that they made about it for YouTube were in 2011 in February. So that was, I think, actually concurrent with Madoka.
Oh, okay.
But the show proper was 2015, so it kind of gets to be post Madoka on a technicality.
It's still just amazing that the magical girl genre might have been saved by a rally car company.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. Like, I kind of wonder if they were just going to leave it at those shorts. And then, like once Madoka was so popular and stuff, they were like, hey, maybe we should bring our friggin' Subaru Mahos back. Make a whole show with that.
It's just weird that it was done at all.
Yeah, it's a magical girl show that's surprisingly really earnest, like one of the most earnest magical girl shows I've seen in a long time. But also they ride around on what they call drive shafts that have hubcaps attached to them because Subaru, and they're based on different cars. And it's like how can this be?
Can I ask? I thought I saw that one of the girls is actually called Subaru.
Yes, the main character is named Subaru. Because that's, that's not that weird as a name.
Oh, okay. I suppose not.
Yeah, that's actually like a believable Japanese name. So I guess it'd be like if Toyota made an anime and the main character had the surname Toyota. It's just kind of, it's funny in context.
So it wears its sponsorship on its sleeve, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because in Japan, it's called Hokago no Pleiades. Oh, it is actually called Pleiades. But, Pleiades is the constellation that's called Subaru in Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Because that's which I didn't know until not long ago, but, if you look at the Subaru logo, it's got all the stars, and that's the Pleiades, and it's because that's Subaru.
Ah, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know anything about cars, so I'm sure there's a lot of little car references that were in this, but I wouldn't fucking know. But this was animated by Gainax, and it seems to kind of be the pet project of Shoji Saeki because it's the only thing I could really find him with directing and writing credits on, and he's both. And so it seems like they were like, hey, you want to make a magical girl anime for fucking Subaru? And he was like, I'm gonna make it the best one.
He took the opportunity he was given and just fucking ran with it.
Yeah, because it is surprisingly abstract in a lot of ways, and it goes for a lot of concepts at once, and so it is not phoned in. They really went for it.
Huh. This is very interesting.
If anything, I would say the places where I feel like it fails most are just when an episode gets a little too hard to understand because there's so many overlapping themes and weird space shit is happening and you're not quite sure exactly what's going on.
Which is not the problem you would expect to have with a sponsored promotional anime like this.
Yeah, you'd expect it to be basic as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was like, aw, it gave me a little doki doki feel in my heart, like someone really wanted to make their magical girl show.
It's actually quite, it's sort of adorable in a way.
Yeah, so I would say if you think that you're someone who might want to watch it without spoilers, go do that first, and then you can come back. But otherwise, we're going to talk about everything in it, and maybe you can see if you interpreted what the hell happened in some of these episodes differently than me.
You'd like someone to explain what happened at certain places?
Yeah, there will probably be somewhere I'm like, so what do you guys think happened? Is this what happened? But episode 1, pew pew pew, going right into it. So you see little Subaru. So Subaru is of course the pink one. She's got kind of like short flippy hair, and she's kind of got like little like flippy horns on either side of her bangs. You know, like the kind of thing where you see her trying to pat it down and they floop up again, and it's like, oh boy. But you see her as a little girl. She's got a telescope and she's looking at a meteor shower where it's like, you know, like one star and then it splits off into a bunch of other stars. And she's like, wow, I'm baby, it's beautiful. So that's like the first thing you see of her. And then it cuts to current Subaru, and she is at home picking up her telescope. She's like run home from school, and then she's going back to school with her telescope to see a meteor shower.
Oh.
So she sees her friend Aoi, who's the blue one, which you know because her name means blue. And she's like, oh, that's Aoi. And Aoi is, so yeah, she's like this short blue-haired girl, and she's got glasses, which I like because she's not the nerd one. I was like, what? She has glasses, but she's not the smart nerd one? I don't understand. I can't follow this at all.
This is so abstract and conceptual.
I know.
I can't follow it.
That's what I was talking about. It's so fucking strange. Aoi is clearly in a different school uniform, and she's looking at Aoi. Aoi seems to be interacting with some other friend she doesn't know, and she's like, you can tell she has like weird feelings about it.
Okay.
And you're like, I wonder what's up with that. And then so she's walking back to school, and she has this like monologue in her mind about like maybe people are like passing shooting stars, like destined to be alone, just, you know, like passing each other in the night.
Okay.
And so she goes to the observatory, and she goes to open the door, because I guess the school has like a planetarium. They call it a planetarium in the subs. The subs aren't very good. I feel like a planetarium is a very specific thing.
Yeah, that's an educational thing where you project stars onto a roof.
Yeah. So you'd have to have all this. Maybe it is. I don't know. But so she goes to open the door to the planetarium observatory thing, but instead it's this greenhouse with a big fountain in the middle, and there's a pretty boy in there.
Oh.
And he's a mysterious pretty boy hanging out with a bunch of butterflies, and he's got red hair, which is important because there's another character that's very obviously somehow the same character as him that nobody figures out for a while, but it's like, but they both have long red hair, so clearly this is the same guy in some way. But he's all like mysterious and cute, and she interacts with him a little bit. She's like, oh, it's weird, you know, like I didn't know our school had a place like this. And he's like, what's a school? She invites him to come to the meteor shower with her, and he's like, why? And so she takes that as a rejection.
Oh.
Because he was like, why? Why would I do that?
Is he just sort of a weirdo? Is that how he comes across?
He's a little weird, yeah. Like, he always talks very mysteriously.
Yeah, okay.
And it does have that kind of feeling of, like, weird 90s shoujo magical girls, or, you know, like, sometimes stuff is just fucking weird for the sake of being kind of, like, strange and dreamlike.
Which you've told me that like, the Sailor Moon manga was a lot like that, whereas the anime dropped that for the most part.
Yeah, the anime is more straightforward usually. But yeah, the Sailor Moon manga, yeah, everything's all, like, just constantly sparkles, and everything's like, where is this happening? What is this, some strange realm? And it's just a bunch of shinies. But he's looking at the butterflies, and she's like, they're so pretty, and he's like, does it matter though if nobody can see them because they're stuck in here? So it's like, oh, you're talking about yourself, aren't you, in some way? I get it.
Okay.
So she leaves, and she's all embarrassed about how that went down. And it cuts to these 4 mysterious magical girls hanging out in a classroom. And they're like talking about how they've not done a good job with whatever they're supposed to do. And they're kind of confused about their situation. And it's like, oh, how mysterious. What's up with that? And then she's run into by the mascot character, which is this like little like jelly looking guy. He's like a little round alien. He's pretty cute, but he can only talk in like beep, 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 beep kind of sounds. Like you do. And so he squishes into her, and he steals her compass that she has. But before that happens, she was looking out the window, and it's raining, so she can't see the meteor shower.
Aww.
Yeah, no. But so she opens another sliding door, and all the magical girls are there hanging out in a classroom, and they're like, who the fuck are you? And she's like, whoa, what are all you guys?
Are they actually like dressed as the magical girls?
Yes.
They're transformed? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because later you learn that people can't see them when they're magical girls, so it's weird to them that she can see them. So they're like, oh, are you like another person like us? Are you supposed to be a magical girl? But she sees Aoi, her blue-haired friend, and she's like, what are you doing here? And Aoi's like, what are you doing here, buh? And Aoi is very like tsundere for the first like half of this. And the president, so since he can only make beep beep beeps, the way that he speaks to everyone is that he sits on top of the purple-haired girl's head, and she like, I guess he kind of like mind links with her, and so she talks for him. And she'll like emote for him and stuff. So like you'll hear him going like beep, 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 beep in the background, and meanwhile she's like, okay, everyone, this is what we need to do, blah, 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 I'm the president.
That's rough on the purple girl.
Yeah, and you don't learn much about her until like episode 8, so it's always like, so what's your deal? Because every once in a while she takes him off to like talk for herself.
Right, okay. We haven't seen any of Subaru and Aoi actually just being friends yet, have we?
No, yeah, we just know that like it seems like they used to be friends but had some kind of falling out.
Oh, okay. There's been a falling out.
Yeah, we need to talk about the magical girl outfits because they're really cute.
Okay.
So basically they all have like these white cloaks, and they're around like little, of course they have like sailor skirts and stuff, and they're all very white, but they have like accents of their individual colors, and each of them has a different hat. And so like Aoi has a blue, it's like a witch's hat, the most, straightforward. Main girl Subaru has, like one of those sailor hats, like what Donald Duck would have, like the round poofy ones. It's pretty cute. Purple girl has a captain's hat, like Captain Crunch.
Okay.
So I guess that's how you know that she's some kind of weird nerd. Purple girl, she has like a hair over one eye, and she looks kind of mysterious or whatnot. She has kind of fancy long hair. Yellow-haired girl has pigtails, and she looks like the kind of whatever kind of character. And she has, I guess, like a flight attendant's hat.
Okay.
Like it's like that cute little like boop on top of your head hat. Mm. And then long black-haired girl has, I don't know what you'd call this kind of hat. It's like wide-brimmed, like a sun hat, but then the hat part is cylindrical.
The like boater hats, like FBI agents in the 30s wore, that kind of thing.
Wait, I'm looking up boater hat. Yeah, but like with a way longer brim.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like, that one's kind of weird. And she seems to be like the proper girly one.
Right. Okay.
She gets the least stuff to do and is always just kind of there, and I'm like, whatever. So they're all there, and it's like, oh, I guess you're gonna be magical girl or something. And her and Aoi are arguing about, because for some reason they aren't getting along. But then suddenly the sky outside the door changes and her broom appears, or I mean her drive shaft, which is, they're like, it's like a big long stick like this made of metal. Like I don't think it looks like an actual drive shaft.
Hang on, I need to check and actually look at these.
Yeah, look at it, because maybe you know a car.
Wait, no, that's an actual drive shaft.
Okay, because I thought because of like the spirally looking parts, maybe it was a bit different.
No, I think that's part of how a drive shaft works. Like,
well, shit. Okay, so they just ride around on drive shafts with like a 4-pointed star shoved into one end and a floating hubcap on the other end.
That's really funny.
It's beautiful and magical.
I suppose I don't know what other car part you would like work into it. Really, you don't want them like flying around in a little car. That's too on the nose, and you don't want them. You don't want to like I don't know, like sitting in a seat or something, or that they've got to ride around like a witch.
Yeah,
and that's the only part of a car that's kind of straight. So, yeah, drive shaft.
And it's funny because like nothing on their suits is like car themed. They have the stars for Pleiades, but otherwise they just look like very normal magical girls. But then they have these fucking drive shafts that they ride around on, so it's really funny.
They don't quite fit. They look too mechanical compared to the rest of their costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind it so much. It's just like, it's just really funny knowing what they are.
It is also funny seeing like the copyrights on these things like Gainax and other studios and stuff. Then Fuji Heavy Industries.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's one of the copyrights. Fuji Heavy Industries.
Do they manufacture some of those parts or something?
Maybe that's Subaru. That's who owns Subaru. I'm actually not quite sure.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, but it's like, again, this weird mix of worlds. I would love to see like an interview of when they decided to make this and, what all those conversations were.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but I feel like there must have been someone at Subaru who was in charge of where marketing budgets were spent, who also just fucking love magical girls. And like,
that's very possible. Yeah, shit like that does happen sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, and they saw this opportunity and they went, fuck yes.
He's like, I promise, guys, magical girls are super big right now. It's gonna be great.
And you do see people who have like murals of magical girls in their cars too.
Oh yeah.
I've seen like motorbikes that are like stickered with like magical girls and anime shit. So I guess maybe there's a market for it. I don't know.
Yeah, and they're both things that like big nerds are into, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Car nerds. Subaru is a nerd car. Yeah.
My mom has a Subaru, but she is also a nerd.
I guess I mean like if you're into like cars that do cool shit in like rally stages and shit, that's Subaru. That's what they do.
Ah, you're teaching me stuff already.
They got like crazy 4-wheel drive systems and they're very technical and stuff. So yeah.
Nice.
Anyway.
So her drive shaft appears and she goes like, whoa, flying off into the sky on it. And she gets a transformation sequence. There's only 2 episodes that show her transform. And like it's like episode 1 and episode like 7 or something. So I was like, oh, that's random. You're actually showing me the sequence again. Yeah. But otherwise you just see it the one time. And it's cute because her giant ass cloak comes billowing out and it's adorable.
I wonder why they don't show it more often. Seems strange.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I guess because they wanted to get more good content in there.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's true, actually. They weren't just trying to fill time.
Yeah, they're doing their best. But then everyone else shows up to catch up to her, and this is the first time that all the girls are in 3D now, and it sucks.
Oh, okay. This is one of those ones that does the switching back and forth.
Yeah, but it's way worse than it was in Yuki Yuna, because, like, anytime they're zoomed out, it's just, like, really, really obvious that they're in 3D.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And I'm like, is this something that I just need to get used to now in anime? But I don't wanna.
I'm curious as to why they do it, because there must be a benefit. Like, there must be some, like, it must save time or...
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Because 3D is always cheaper.
Is it?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's often like a different pipeline.
Yeah, but I guess like now every anime, they have people for that because at least your cars and stuff are going to be in 3D.
That's true, yeah. That tends to throw me more in like regular 2D anime, and then suddenly they'll be in a car and there'll be like a long, like sweeping sort of shot around the car and it's all perfectly done. And it's like, this is weird. I don't know why we're doing this.
Yeah, I really wish they could at least afford to like just trace over the models.
Yeah,
that
or
it
something.
all looked like it's part of the same show.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I did notice like after episode like 5 or 6, they stopped doing it. So it's like, I don't know if they got more money or they just decided, I guess there aren't as much like big flying sequences. But I was like, oh, thank God I haven't seen 3D in a while. I hate your 3D. I'm not here for Rawoobi. So they're all flying through the sky on their drive shafts, and you see this big spiky shape, and it's apparently one of the engine fragment parts, because the alien, his spaceship like broke up into these fragments, and they need to, that's kind of like their overarching quest during the show, is to collect all the fragments from the engine.
Ah, okay.
But they just look like these like kind of spiky star-shaped things. So she wants to help them all capture the star, but Aoi doesn't want her help. She's like, I don't want your help, baka. And she's like, you left me behind. And she's like, what are you talking about? You're the one that left me behind. And then they both look at each other very confused. And this is one of the first things that's very confusing in this show. You find out that they're from like different timelines, but they don't explain that very well.
Wait, hang on. Okay. Wait, what?
So, see, because I thought that they meant like metaphorically, like you left me behind, as a person. But they're actually remembering, like Subaru, the one that we know, remembers that Aoi transferred schools to that one with the different uniform and left her behind. But Aoi remembers, her memory is that Subaru went to the different school and left her behind.
So they are attending, they're both attending different schools. And in their minds, their friend was at the school with them and then left.
Or they were together in elementary school and then the friend went off to a different middle school.
Right. Okay.
They're in first year middle school now.
So they didn't just like transfer to different schools and were cross at each other for that.
It's basically seems like that. Yeah, it's like they're both cross at the other one for leaving and not explaining to them that they were going to go to the other school or why. They both felt like they got abandoned.
Right, okay. But where does the timeline thing come into it?
Okay, that'll be explained a bit later, but not very well. But right now it's just this confusing thing where they both look like genuinely confused at each other, and it's like, what's going on?
Okay.
Oh yeah, so they're trying to catch the fragment, and how they do that is they all fly in formation, and it makes like a big magical star that they can like catch the fragment in. But because they're all fighting and not having a good time, they spin off and they like bounce around the sky and they go so far that they like fly back into their classroom and are like, oh, we did a bad job. And then they have like this big philosophical conversation about like, did you change? You're the one who changed. I can't change. Oh, I thought the same thing about you. Is it possible to change? Change. Which is one of like the kind of overarching themes of the show.
Right, okay.
So after they talk about that for a bit and they feel like they had some kind of philosophical breakthrough, they go out to try to capture the fragment again. But then the bad guy shows up. And he's like a demon boy, and he has the long red hair, which is why it's like, okay, you're obviously somehow the same boy as that boy in the greenhouse. He's like, this is my fragment, I'm gonna get it, ha 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 ha. Oh yeah, the fragment, when they like smoosh it with their magical circle, it turns into a conpeto, like the sugar stars.
Oh, okay.
It turns into that kind of shape. So it gets like a smaller size that's more manageable, and he catches it, and he's like, haha, it's mine now, and they're kind of fighting him. And Subaru gets it, and he steals it, but it there's like some kind of explosion, and he runs away, and he's like, haha, I got the fragment, but she got a little piece of it that's like stuck under her hat, and so she got like a little Campeto, and they're like, we did as good as we could for now. You got a little piece.
So... how long have the other magical girls been at this?
Not super long, but yeah, they haven't got any fragments before now.
Oh, okay, so this is the first time they managed to do it.
Yeah, I guess they've been trying.
And this other guy has been stealing them each time?
I don't remember if this is the first time he appeared to them, or because they were like, yeah, this is our enemy, but none of them have a fragments yet. So I guess they've just been like, they show up and try to get a fragment, and then they fight, and then the fragment flies off, and they're like, well, fuck.
They've just been fucking it up over and over again up till now.
Yeah, because they needed the pink member. You can't do shit without the pink member.
That's true. Do we know what they're wanting to use the fragments for?
I don't think it's explained this episode. It's probably explained next episode.
Okay, I'll stop asking questions.
This episode ends with, so since they're all like flying up in the sky, they're above the rain cloud line, and they see the meteor shower, and it's all cute, and it's like, aw, she got to see it after all with her new friends.
Is she like pumped that like, she's in space?
Kinda, yeah. A lot of it has this kind of like wistful, it makes me think of like the awesome parts of Super Mario Galaxy, where it's just kind of beautiful and abstract and calming and space, and it's cool.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah. But I think she's still kind of like overwhelmed with just all the general shit, what the fuck is happening.
That's fair. Yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah, so the next episode starts, and here's where the whole her and Aoi thing became extremely confusing, because she and Aoi are in the same school uniform now, and they both go to school, and they both try to reach for like the same shoe locker, and then they both try to sit in the same desk in their classroom, and they're like, what the fuck? And all the classmates, some remember that Aoi sat there, and some remember that Subaru sat there, and they don't seem like super weirded out by it. And then suddenly just the black-haired girl shows up and slams a new desk down and is like, it's fine, we have plenty of desks now, no, don't worry about it. And apparently this has happened with each girl as they've joined the team.
Okay.
See, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
It's because they're all from different timelines where they were the person who sat in that desk.
Okay, so is someone collecting them from different timelines?
Yeah, the alien president guy, he says that he tried to just call one magic user person to help him, but he ended up calling 5 people somehow, and they're all from these different... Like, he just talks about it like possibilities or something, but it's much easier to understand as timelines.
Okay. Is it explained why Aoi and Subaru are now going to the same school?
Because Aoi just happens to be from a timeline where she was the one who went to that school, and Subaru is from the timeline where she went to that school.
But previously we saw them and they weren't going to the same school.
Right. So they're both from timelines where the other one's going to the other school. And how that works in terms of like... Because Subaru also, she walks by that friend that she'd had at the other school, and Aoi isn't there. So I guess the idea is that like these timelines have kind of like mishmashed together such that they all are currently going to that one school and sat in that one desk.
Oh, hang on. Was the Aoi she saw before in the other school uniform not the Aoi she saw in the as a magical girl later on.
Right.
Right. Okay, I see what you mean. So when she walked in on the magical girls in the first episode, she was now looking at a different Aoi from the different timeline.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
But again, I had to like really sit there and think about it and rewatch stuff and be like, okay, I got it.
So it's not really holding your hand through any of this stuff.
No, it's very abstract.
In a way, I guess you can respect that. But I suppose in another way, though, it also does indicate this was made for adults.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't expect a kid to follow this.
Right. I don't even know if they expect adults to follow it. It's so strange sometimes. It just seems like, don't worry about it too much. Just magic's happening. So they establish that no one can see them when they're transformed and no one can see the president jellyfish. And they go for drive shaft flying practice, which is like a cute little chance to see what their different characters are like, because the yellow girl just does like super crazy fancy flying, and then she's like, so just do it like that.
Okay.
Black-haired girl, who's, you know, like the girly girl, is like, you just have to, it's all about balance, and she's like balancing like 2 giant stacks of super heavy things on either side of her drive shaft, and it's like, okay, whatever. But purple girl she always flies on her drive shaft by standing up on it. Just like standing straight, not even like she's surfing or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And so she's like, you just have to do it like this. And she's standing on it, but she's upside down. And they're like, that's really impressive, but I don't know how the fuck you're doing that. She's very mysterious. Oh, and even in her civilian outfit, she has like cosplay on constantly. She has like a kind of cute witch's hat and like a cloak, like she's got some kind of, like the anime character type that's like an occult enthusiast.
Oh, okay.
Or whatnot. So it's like, what is your deal?
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at her now. Yeah, it's almost like got bunny ears. It's like a witch's hat with bunny ears.
Yeah, that was like, it's mysterious. Oh, and whenever, of course, they fly on their drive shafts, they make like vroom vroom sounds. And it's funny because even the demon boy makes vroom vroom sounds when he's flying, even though he just like flies like a flying wizard guy.
Wait a minute. Do you mean the drive shafts make engine sounds, or the girls are making engine sounds?
No, the drive shafts make actual engine sounds.
Oh, okay, sure, okay.
They're not doing it with their mouth, no. That would be awesome. This is the only way to do it. This is how you make your magic. You gotta go vroom. Subaru and Aoi go to practice together and have a kind of, you know, like chance to have a little heart-to-heart thing. But I don't know. They don't know. They're not getting along. They don't understand what's happening. They feel weird about it. So they come back, and the other girls have bought them snacks. And you find out that Subaru has a iconic food thing, which is strawberry milk. Right. She like a strawberry milk because she's the pink one.
Of course.
Aoi offers her the strawberry milk, like, you like this, right? And Subaru runs off crying.
Aww.
Because she's just like so overwhelmed with emotions, but she doesn't explain why yet. But she goes to open a door and she's in that greenhouse place with her boy again.
Oh, right.
And he's like, hey, what's up with you? You seem, you know, like unhappy or whatever. And she's like kind of overwhelmed by like, I you know, like, again, this was really confusing before I figured out the timelines thing, because she's just like, I just don't know if she's the person that I knew. And you think it's just like them super overreacting to the fact that they haven't talked in a while.
Oh,
you know, it's like, oh, she's like changed. She's like a different Aoi. I don't even know if I know this Aoi. It's like, it's been like what, like a few weeks. 'Cause I don't think she can be that different. But it's because they understand, even if we didn't understand, that they're from different timelines.
Okay. I wonder if they intended for you to understand that earlier.
I don't know. I was trying to figure out how much of that was the sub's fault, because maybe it was a bit more explicit, and the sub isn't very good. But I'm pretty sure it was still pretty abstract. So because Aoi remembered that Subaru liked strawberry milk, she just got kind of overwhelmed, because it's like, oh, it is still the same girl that was my friend.
Okay. So she's like, yeah, she wasn't sure, but now she is. That's my friend.
Yeah, she's like, even if there's some slight differences, you're still my friend. So they decide to go flying again, and Aoi teaches her how to do an Immelman turn, which I know from Last Exile, which was also very important in Last Exile, because it's like you go up and it makes you lose speed, and then you like turn around. It's a flight thing. Another fragment appears, conveniently, flying in the sky, and Demon Boy also appears, and he's like, I'm gonna get it, it's mine. And the fragment splits into 2, and one's blue and one's pink.
Oh.
And the two fragments are orbiting around each other, and they're like, we have to catch them at the same time because otherwise they'll like, if we catch one, the other one will like spin off because it's lost its gravitational pull. So Aoi and Subaru remember a kid song that they both used to sing, and so they time it to the song, and it's like a really cute, you know, like they both catch it at the same time.
Aww.
Because they both caught it. They're like both spiraling towards each other and getting higher and higher until they're like both in the same place, like all high, and they're like, we're still friends.
Oh, that's nice.
But then the mean boy shows up and he's like, I'm gonna take one, and he steals the blue one and he leaves because, you know, like he wants them both, but they're like, no, we won't give it to you, and he's like, whatever, you guys, boo, I'm bad guy, and so he leaves with the one he got. You know, it's very clear like he's the bad guy, but he's not gonna like hurt any of them ever.
No, he's the bad guy in a kid's show, so he's just sort of mean.
Yeah.
He's a big meanie.
I want the sugar stars. They all come back to the club room and they find out that while Aoi and Subaru were practicing, the other girls applied for them to be a proper club, which the front is that they're the cosplay club, which they're like, it's kind of true.
No, yeah. I mean, it'd be a convenient excuse for if anyone ever saw them in their outfits.
But they can't see them in their outfits, don't forget.
Ah, okay, yeah, that's true.
So that's not a problem. But they're like, what? It's got to be a cute boy club. Make a cosplay club. So that's the end of that episode. Now they have two fragments. They keep them in like a jar and they float in there like cute little sugar stars. And then episode 3, we start in medias res. They're already fighting Demon Boy for a fragment. They do a bad job of or whatever of it, and they end up back in their club room and they're like, man, we suck. Like, can't we do anything cooler? And the president kind of like negs them. He's like, I chose you all because you all have a lot of potential, but that doesn't mean that you're good now, basically. Like, it's just that you like might be good, and then they get like all offended, but he didn't mean it.
Wrecked.
So Subaru goes home and she's all bummed about how they can't do it, and her dad is messing with engine parts.
Okay, yep, sure.
Like you do. I guess her dad must work in presumably a Subaru factory.
It works for Subaru, yeah. He's a mechanic.
Yeah, because this is the only time you see it, but apparently they're working on like a prototype engine, and he's brought all the defective parts home, and he's like kind of fucking with them, and he's like, I don't know, because all these parts that look weird, you know, they all have their shape for a reason. Someone designed them all, and they're all good in their own way. And she's like, yeah, but they're all defective, so no matter how many of them you put together, they're still gonna suck. And it's like, a boo.
He was trying to help you with a metaphor, goddammit.
Yeah, stop overanalyzing his metaphor. It's rude to do. And so she has to go visit her boy again in his greenhouse, and she gives him the strawberry milk, and it's very romantic.
Aww.
And she talks to him about how she's worried that she'll slow all the other girls down because she's the sucky one, and they're all cool. And then they're all practicing some more. Oh, that's right. So while they're practicing, there's a joke where she like runs into the long dark-haired girl's boobs and is like, whoa, this is totally different from Aoi. You got big boobs,
Yeah, right.
Then they would detect a new fragment and go to look for it, and Demon Boy's there. Oh, and there's a cute thing where like Demon Boy shoots his like little blasts at them, and the yellow-haired girl just like kicks them back at him, which I was like, you can do that?
They can't be that dangerous then.
Yeah, I just thought that they would explode if you kicked them, but for some reason she's just like, I'm just gonna do this, whatever. And then it cuts to him and the fragment that he had gotten, and he had it in his hand. It's gone. And he's like, oh, fuck. I guess I dropped it or whatever. And then it cuts to commercials, and every episode has eye catch by a particular illustrator that's all fancy, but like a little hornier than the show itself. And the eye catch suddenly is this like thing where they're all in sexy swimsuits. And I was like, what the fuck? But it turns out that was a spoiler for the second half of this episode, because this is the beach episode.
Oh, we're there. Hooray.
Yeah. So this is the only episode that's horny, and I was very disappointed, and at least it goes back after this. But I was like, why did you have to... Come on, guys. So he's like, oh, the fragment is gone. And they're like, oh, I guess the fragment's gone or whatever. We guess we can't find it. I guess let's go swimming now. and we're just going to change here. You want to join us, boy? And of course, like, it's to, you know, like make him get all embarrassed and run off. But then they detect the fragment and it is down in the water. So they magically change into magical swimsuits.
Right.
And their swimsuits would be cute if, you know, like wasn't worried about all this and you didn't immediately show me them being all horny.
Yeah. It's such a crappy excuse to get them in swimsuits.
Yeah. It's like, fucking whatever, guys.
Yeah.
So they all go down and they can hold their breath super long because they're magic. And they find the fragment like deep in this darkness in the ocean. And they're all holding hands. And it's like, okay, nobody startle it because it might go flying off again. But then suddenly, like, they zoom out and one of the people holding hands is the demon boy.
He's just tagging along.
Yeah, he just snuck into their circle. And so they look over at him and they're like, woo! And he's like, don't startle it. But then an eel like brushes against one of the girl's legs and she's like, rah! And then it goes flying off into the sky. And the rest of the episode takes place in the stratosphere because it made like a big hurricane that like blasted it up into the stratosphere. But the girls stay in their swimsuits. And I don't like it. They're like flying around trying to get the fragment, and there's another boob joke because like the yellow girl tries to catch it. She's like, come into my bosom, and then she like tries to catch it and it flies under her, and then of course it like bounces into the black-haired girl's bosom.
Of course.
It's fucking stupid. And then Subaru is arguing with the demon boy, and then she's like loses control of her thing and she's like slowly flipping forward and her like butt falls into his face. And at least he's kind of funny. He's like, fine, do whatever you want. Ugh, I'm leaving.
So it is a bit horny.
Yeah, this episode is definitely a bit horny. But then they have like the cute thing where all the girls are like, you know, we all feel the same way. Like we all feel like we're the one who's dragging everybody else down. So I guess we're all fine. And it's like, that's cute. I wish you weren't doing that along with your fucking boob butt bullshit.
Yeah, it's gross. Why was Demon Boy not attacking them? It's because they had to work together to get the fragment out?
Sometimes they do, because like sometimes they make the magic circle and he makes a magic circle and then they squeeze together and it makes the fragment turn into the Completo.
And then he tries to steal it.
Yeah, but in general I think it's mostly just that he doesn't want to hurt people
Okay.
while pretending that he totally will.
Yeah, right.
Like every once in a while he does pot shots at them, but it's not his main. He's a big baby. It's a fucking wimp.
That's kind of cute.
And then they cut to a cute scene where Subaru's on the couch with her parents and they're explaining to her because she'd said that like super bummer thing about the broken parts. And they're like, look, people, they aren't just one shape like parts are, and you're changing. So, you know, like there's no such thing as a defective person in this way. So you're right, it is a bad metaphor and you're going to be all right.
They'd spent the whole day thinking about that, going, oh, that was a shitty metaphor. Damn it.
Yeah, god damn it. Fine. Okay, so people are like onions. Episode 4 was another one that was confusing to me. So, yellow-haired girl is the main character of this ep. This is like her ep. And her name's Hikaru, which I assume is, you know, like lights, because she's yellow. So we see a flashback of her when she was a little kid, and her father is playing the piano, and he's like writing some sheet music, but he's having trouble with it. He like can't figure out the next note, so he goes outside to smoke, and she comes in, and she like is like, I know, and she writes a note on top, and she's all proud of herself, like she figured it out. But later it's a big thing, but that's all you see for now. So they're in the club room, they're hanging out, and you find out that she never finishes books or movies because she's like, I get the idea when I'm most of the way through, so I figure that's good enough. Which is stupid. But whatever, it's her character trait. And you find out that her parents are hosting a concert because her mom owns a planetarium and her dad is a professional pianist. And they're hosting a concert to send some music into space.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because there's like a star that they found a planet around super far away that looks kind of like Earth. So they're like, we'll send this music on the radio waves and maybe it'll get to them in, you know, a really long time. They spot the next fragment, but it's on the moon.
Oh.
And so Hikaru, being the person who downplays everything, is like, all right, well, I guess we just have to go to the moon then. And the president's like, but it's super far away. I don't even know if you girls can do that. And she's like, well, do you not want to get your fragment then? It's like, no, yeah, I want it. Okay, do you have anyone else that can get it? Well, no. Okay, well, then I guess we have to go to the moon. So they're training to like fly fast enough to go to the moon. And it's one of those, there's like a lot of actual cute talk about like physics and distances and stuff in this show because they're like talking about like Mach speeds and whatnot.
How concrete is the magic in the show?
Not.
Okay, because like they don't establish hard rules and or anything like that. They just sort of
Yeah, and the girls continuously become more and more powerful, especially as they get more engine fragments.
Okay.
They're like able to channel it into greater power. So it's like initially they, were just like flying above the ocean or whatever, but now they can go to the moon. They decided to do it the next night, and Hikaru was like, "Oh, I wanted to go see that concert the next night," and they were like, "Oh, they aren't holding it that night. I guess they're like holding it all week or whatever, except for that night, and you don't know why." Oh, and then here's where Hikaru's like, and like it's not like the music is gonna reach that planet. It's not like there's anything there, and it would take forever anyways. It's just like a marketing thing. So she's very like poo-poo about it.
Yeah, very cynical.
Yeah, and then Hikaru has to go consult with her boy again, and he tells her about how the flowers in his magical greenhouse zone never bloom, because then if they bloom, they lose their potential. Like now they're just one thing. And she's like, "Is it okay to not see them bloom if you know what they'll become?" And he's like, "What is this actually about? Which of your friends is this about?" She realizes that Hikaru must have something else going on that she's not, being honest about. But it's time for them to go to the moon.
One thing I'm not clear on.
Yeah.
So Subaru's magic greenhouse that she goes into.
Yeah.
Does she know what that is?
No.
Do we know what that is?
No.
So we don't know yet.
It's just a magical, mysterious greenhouse zone that sometimes when she opens a door, it's there instead of whatever was supposed to be there.
Okay.
And again, it's one of those weird dreamlike things where she like never asks the president, because you'd assume these magical happenings are related, but she's never like, "Hey, by the way, there's this weird greenhouse with this like magical boy in it. Do you know anything about that?" She just like goes there and never brings it up to anybody.
Right. So it never comes up. It's never explained.
Oh no, it will. But I just mean like for all these episodes, she just keeps going there, and she's never like, "By the way, I talked to this magical boy in a magical realm."
Okay, sure. I was curious if it was actually going to be addressed, but also if it had been addressed yet.
Yeah.
But I guess not yet. Okay.
No, yeah, it's still just this mysterious thing.
Okay.
So they're all planning to go to the moon that night, and Hikaru's family has this board that they write what everyone's doing on for the day, like Hikaru at school, mom at home, or whatever. And she writes school and then moon on it. And the parents see the board and they're like, "What's up with that?" But they're like, "You know what? Let's play our song tonight, even though we weren't going to do it, because she's never lied to us before, so I guess somehow she's on the moon."
Lot of faith in their child, these parents.
Yeah, so the girls are set up their magical circle to go fly towards the moon, and they like catch this solar wind, and of course they're going like insanely fucking fast. And Hikaru is still doing her downplaying thing. It's like, "Yeah, I mean, it's magic, whatever, we're going super duper fast to the moon, it's fine." But then can you imagine Demon Boy shows up?
Oh, what? Oh, no.
And he attacks them and they all go flying. And then Hikaru enters a dream realm where she's on the moon and it's made of cake, and Subaru is there eating the moon.
Okay.
Hikaru is explaining to Dream Subaru that her dad, she never wants to hear the end of her dad's song, because after she wrote that note on the paper, she super freaked out as a kid because she was worried that she like fucked up her dad's song. Which is really funny because like obviously if he didn't like that note, he could just erase it.
Yeah.
Which you think she could have understood by now, even if she didn't understand that as a child. But whatever, it she doesn't want to hear the end of the song. And then she wakes up and her and Subaru are like flying together, and Subaru seems to remember the conversation even though it was just a dream. And they're all actually hearing the song, and it's because, the parents are broadcasting it and they're like picking up the radio waves. Oh, and you find out that the reason the concert wasn't running this night was because the moon was in the way of that solar system. So that's why it's like perfectly in line so that they can hear it.
Okay.
So, she feels all good about it. And then there's blah, blah, blah. They get the fragment, whatever. And once they get the fragment, they are teleported back to the club room. And she's crying because she's like so overwhelmed by having finally heard the rest of the song. And then it becomes kind of like a thing where the reason that she doesn't want to finish things is because she knows she'll cry, and she doesn't like crying.
Okay.
Or like people seeing her crying.
She downplays things, but in actual fact, she's very invested and is afraid of feeling. Yeah, okay.
And so everyone's like, "Oh, you're crying." And she's like, "No, I'm not, Baka, shut up." And that's the end of that episode. But like, it was so weird to me to have like all these overlapping. It's like, so she doesn't like to finish things because it makes her too emotional, but also she feels all guilty about the the having changed things, and she feels like she like interfered with her dad and mom's dream.
Yeah.
And there's just like all these strange things going on that it's like it feels like they should fit together a bit better than they do.
I guess I could see how those things were tied together. She was avoiding hearing the end of the dad's song because it wasn't going to be the real ending, or it wasn't going to be what it should have been.
Yeah, see, I wasn't worried whether she was worried about it would have had the note that she wrote, or if it wouldn't have the note that she wrote. Which I guess maybe she was just worried just to like collapse that waveform quantumly and find out. But yeah. I don't know. But I still cried a little bit at the end of this episode. I don't know.
So it got to you anyway.
Yeah, it was just like so weird and artsy.
It does feel like it's an interesting idea. The idea that you're afraid of hearing the ends of things because they overwhelm you. Almost like there's a better version of it that might exist until you actually hear it or something.
Oh yeah, because like I'm really bad at finishing video games and whatnot. So like that part of it I kind of felt like I understood and empathized with.
Yeah, it's kind of, this feels like this could be really personal to someone, but maybe they haven't completely explained it as well as they could have.
Yeah. A lot of the show feels like that. It's interesting.
But that's so much more interesting than someone just executing a generic thing. I mean, executing a generic thing well is fine, but there is something more interesting about someone who hasn't quite pulled off what they wanted, but there was something really lived in and like personal in there.
Yeah, like it really feels like they wanted to say something.
Yeah.
They didn't just go for like she's really shy, but then they got her to talk to them.
Yeah. Oh, she wants to sing.
Shut up, Itsuki. Wait, that's right. This next girl's name is Itsuki.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I need to check that actually.
Okay. If her name is Itsuki, you're gonna have to do the Ugu voice.
Yeah, her name's Itsuki.
Okay.
Ugu.
And hey, she is also the worst character because she's the long black-haired girl, but this is her episode.
Why is she the worst character?
She's just kind of boring. I don't know. She's fine. It feels like after this, besides this particular episode, she just doesn't have a lot to do. And she's also the one that gets the most fan service because she's the one that has the boobs.
Right, okay. But didn't you say the purple-haired one doesn't get a ton to do as well? Because you don't really know anything about her?
But that's in an interesting way, though. Like,
okay.
she's always, like, kind of hinting at things. So you're like, what's your deal? And you're, like, weird and quirky. Whereas black-haired girl is normally just like, I'm nice.
Okay, there's just nothing going on.
I sure am a nice girl.
So Itsuki.
We open her episode on
that name is cursed forever now.
Yeah.
They're choosing roles for a school play.
Oh, no.
No, shut up. It's not Yuki Yuna. It's going to be okay.
Everything is.
No. So, Aoi is chosen as the prince because, like, she's got short hair and she's kind of tomboyish. Though they imply it was just because Subaru, like, accidentally, like, tripped and, like, checked her name off. But it's like, I also could have bought that the class would have chosen her as the prince since she seems like a kind of the girl that would play the prince. And black-haired girl was chosen to be the princess. And she's like, I don't want to not meet people's expectations. So it's like that kind of thing where she's being nice about it, but it feels like maybe there's like something about the situation she doesn't like.
Okay.
She recounts the tale that they're going to do the play on, which is called The Princess in the Tower or something, The Lady in the Tower. Which is, which of course made me think of fucking Ruby.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, now we're touching on Ruby too.
Yeah, god damn it. We're cursed. Much like this princess. Because the tale is that there's a princess who everything she said that if someone could hear her, it would come true if she wished it out loud. And so in order to make her not do anything too crazy, they locked her in a tower where nobody could hear her. But then a prince comes and makes his way to there to where he can hear her wish. And he hears her last words and he opens the door and she's gone and she'd wish to disappear.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, God, that's fucking sad.
That's a bummer for a middle school play.
Yeah, I think like the yellow-haired girl even says that. It's like, that's kind of fucking heavy.
Yeah.
So they're talking about like the outfits they're gonna wear, and Subaru like touches Itsuki's hair, and Itsuki like hits her away, like she has like some kind of weird complex about her forehead. And you're like, what's up with that? Guess we'll find out later. So Subaru's like, oh, that feels bad, and she's immediately back in the boy zone greenhouse zone.
Right.
I just like this, like every time even a little thing weird happens with her friends, it's like, I gotta go consult my boy. But she mentions like, she's like, oh, you're kind of like the princess in the tower. You're like trapped in here or whatever. And she wonders if he's a dream of hers. And then he's like, well, if I'm a dream of yours, then when you wake up, am I not going to exist? And she's like, no, I don't want that. So she goes back to Itsuki to apologize for whatever happened before. And Itsuki and her go flying together to have a heart-to-heart. And Itsuki tells her tragic backstory where she used to be like a tomboy and she was like climbing a tree. And her brother was like, stop climbing that tree. And she's like, no. And then she is like going out on a branch, but her hat goes flying. And so she goes to catch it, but then she falls and she ends up with like a big scar on her forehead or like a tiny scar. And so the lesson that she learned from that is not to be selfish.
Okay.
And she must never do what other people what other people tell her not to do.
Okay. She's got to be obedient. And
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
But not in like a weird, not like to that extent. It's more just like, it's like I don't want to be selfish. If everyone thinks that is best for me to be the princess, I'll go along with that. All right. But don't because she has to learn a lesson. It's okay. She's gonna learn her lesson.
What's the lesson?
Okay, well, so they detect a fragment, but it's way further away now because every fragment is like progressively further away. So they use their magic bullshit with their things to slingshot themselves into space, and it's on Saturn. They're in the rings of Saturn. And you learn a lot of like random trivia about the rings of Saturn, which is really cute.
Any of it good?
Yeah, because it comes up in a bit. But hey, guess who somehow hitched a ride on their magic slingshot?
I wonder, was it Fu?
Shut up!
Shut up, Onyai-san. It's me, Demon Boy Ugu.
When are we going to have an Uwu boy?
No, I don't like that either. Because they talk about how, because the two girls who were like the front of the slingshot and the three girls who are the back of the slingshot are really far away from each other. And they talk about how Saturn's rings are 5 Earths wide, which is like, I forget how big other planets are. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're quite big.
Yeah, so they're like, how can we find each other even? So they're like, make a magic circle, and so they can see like where the other end of it is. And it's like, oh, we got the fragment in our circle. Hey, that's convenient. But then the demon boy comes in and he hits it and it goes flying through the ring and they're all like, stupid. and so now it's stuck somewhere in the ring and they're like, how are we going to find it? And they figure out how they can kind of search for it because they see something that's called a propeller, which is a term for like when there's more dense things in Saturn's ring, they'll make like this propeller shaped hole because of like the different densities of the objects. And so there will be like a gap of space around the object that shows where something is. And so it gives her the idea to blast back and forth through the ring because all the lower density objects will like go to the side or whatever. And then, but because the fragment is so heavy, it won't be affected that way.
Right. Okay.
So like it's like it's strange, some of the stuff that they do in this show. It's like weird and interesting.
It's interesting. It's also like surprisingly technical.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, again, there's someone who is really into space shit made this show.
Yeah, he like a space.
Yeah.
Space is pretty cool. Oh, but Itsuki came up with that idea, but she didn't want to suggest it because it was dangerous, because they might like, hit themselves on ice or whatever. But they're like, no, Itsuki, we should do it. And then she's like, oh, right. And then, of course, like they find it and she catches it. And she's like, I just don't want to, be selfish or whatever. And they're like, you can always be selfish with us, Itsuki. We're your friends. See, it's fine. She's got to express what she actually wants to do.
Yeah.
And then so they cut to the play, and she's playing the prince because that's what she wanted, that she didn't want to express, is that she'd really wanted to be the prince.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so Aoi is the princess, and she's doing her like, I don't like being the princess, but she like clearly does like being it. She's like, stupid. Never cute though.
That's cute.
Yeah.
This is all very cute.
Yeah, and they changed the ending of the play to be happier, and yeah, so like the prince and princess wish to be together or whatever. All right, but episode 6. It starts with a giant light ring appearing in the sky, kind of like a really thick rainbow, but it's just like yellow light, and you find out that it's like everybody gets called to the club room. It's like, emergency, it's the ship and it's going to materialize, which is bad
Oh.
because it's not, the engine isn't working. Because the alien president finally explains that he's from this race of aliens that have the power to create the outcome that they want out of a bunch of different possibilities. Like, you know, like they can like see all the different possibilities branching out and like choose them.
Oh, okay.
They realized that they had no possibilities that they could find in this universe where they survived as a species. So they decided to just kind of like stay in stasis in their spaceship and not exist, kind of.
Right.
Like temporarily. So if their ship materializes, I think it would like materialize over Earth, so that'd probably fuck some shit up, like it might clip through it. But also I think all the aliens would die. So he's trying to repair the engine so that the ship can keep running, to keep it in this like magical state where it exists outside of space and time.
Are they waiting till they figure out a way for them to survive?
As far as we can tell, they're just buying their time for eternity, so that they don't have to die.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, and again, another very abstract concept.
Yeah. Again, if this is a kid show, it's expecting a lot of the kids watching it.
I don't think it's a kid's show.
No.
I think it is a seinen. I think it's like K-On!, where it's like every once in a while there's something that reminds you that its primary target is adult men, but otherwise it's just extremely pure, which I'm down for.
Yeah.
And 7 years ago is when the engine fell apart and did the meteor shower over Earth, because you've kind of seen all the girls in their flashbacks when they were kids. You know, they all like see the meteor shower. And apparently there's 13 fragments in total. And I think between them and the demon boy, there's like 8 that have been found. But the demon boy has laid a trap, because the blue one that he'd gotten during the episode where Aoi and Subaru had to work together, he like does something to it, and then he sends it off so that they find it and bring it home with them. So they bring it back to their club room, and it's with all the other sugar stars, and they're all kind of like rotating around each other, and he's like, I think I can make the engine work with this amount, so I'm working on it. But they leave to go home for the night, but Subaru forgot something, so she goes back to the club room, and something weird is happening. There's like bwam, bwam, bwam. And because she notices that the one that they just got looked the same as the one that she'd gotten that day. And she's like, wait, that's weird. And then suddenly she transforms and everyone else transforms. And the president says like, oh, it's a, what do you call it? Like an emergency mechanism. Like they all transformed automatically because something has gone wrong.
Oh, okay.
And it's because the demon boy like left one of his earrings. He somehow like combined it with this engine fragment so that he can track where it is. So now he's in the school, and he seals up the school so that the rest of the girls can't get in, and Subaru's in there, but he doesn't know exactly where the fragment is. So he's like going through different rooms trying to find it. And Subaru ends up back in the room with her boy. And so
this doesn't seem like the time.
Yeah. Oh, like she like runs into Demon Boy, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And she's like, "What are you doing here?" Bah! And she ends up flying straight into like the room that her boy's in, which is, I was like, okay, so they do exist simultaneously. Like this boy's definitely here, and the other boy's definitely outside. So, so she shows her nice boy the earring, and it's the same as like one that he has, and like looking at it hurts him, and he starts like coughing and stuff, and she doesn't know why, but he's like, if you need to really get out, you can follow this path through the back of the magical greenhouse and maybe you'll be able to get out. But I think like somehow it'll force him to leave, and he's like, I guess maybe it's about time I left this zone anyways.
Right.
She goes to follow the path, and he gives her a little flower bud to put in her pocket to remember him by, and Demon Boy enters the room like she's already gone off, and he enters and he's like, what the fuck is this place? But then it just cuts away, and she opens the door outside to the observatory, and the other girls are able to get in, and then Demon Boy is still fighting them like we don't know what happened with him in that room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, wait though.
Yeah, this has been a confusing one so far.
Yeah, because now, hey, guess what? Now the school is in space.
Right. Okay.
Because Demon Boy, I guess, somehow teleports the entire school into space.
Right. Okay.
Or at least into like the stratosphere.
Okay.
So the school's floating out in space, and he's gonna get the engine from them, but the interdimensional ship is starting to materialize, and the engine fragments all like kind of combine into a big like energy cube, and they're like the cube fragments are floating towards him, and he's gonna get them. And the president is like, "We gotta start up the engine somehow. All you girls use your drive shafts as spark plugs." I don't know how the fuck that works. Because the girls all just like get in a star formation and are like going vroom vroom, and somehow like that makes all the fragments light up like it's giving it power or something. But everything's all fucked up. It's gonna materialize, and I guess because they believed so much, their drive shafts and the hubcaps upgrade to like shiny new different hubcaps that are more personalized. So I'm sure if you know about cars, it'd be like, oh, that's the one from the Suzuki Outback or whatever. but I don't fucking know.
Okay. So, all right. So I've got a question.
What, are you having trouble following this?
I thought they didn't have enough fragments yet. Like there was still some missing.
So did I.
But there was enough to apparently get the engine going.
Yeah, I guess he can kind of, what do you call it, jerry-rig something. Because, you know, like, again, like, it's not like the engine is made up of distinctive parts that fit together in a certain way. It's fucking energy completo.
Right, okay.
So he's like, maybe this will be good enough for me to get something going to at least, like, stave off the ship materializing for now.
Okay.
Even if it's just, like, a temporary fix.
Right. Why does this energy engine exist outside of the ship?
Because it broke off 7 years ago.
But like he doesn't need the ship to materialize so he can plug it in and then the ship goes away?
Yeah, it can kind of like work remotely somehow.
Okay.
Again, it's like this fucking like conceptual fourth dimensional shit.
Yeah. Is the Demon Boy trying to get control of the ship so he has that power to predict all outcomes?
We don't know why he wants the engine fragments yet.
Okay. And as far as we know, the good version of the Demon Boy from the greenhouse has left the greenhouse.
He implied that he was going too soon.
Okay, but we didn't actually see him leave. We just saw. I was going to say, because why does Subaru have trouble leaving at that time? Because she just leaves normally, doesn't she? Oh,
she was trying to find a way to get out of the school in general because the Demon Boy had sealed the school and none of the doors were opening.
Okay,
so he was like, maybe this special door, will be able to open to the outside.
Right, going through the conservatory might work. Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Okay, so you apprised? Got any other questions?
I mean, no, but I think I'm a little more straight than I was before. So,
all right.
Okay.
So with their super magical upgraded hubcap drive shafts,
Yes.
they're able to somehow start the fourth dimensional engine.
Sure.
And there's an explosion effect, and the Demon Boy's like, no. And then the Demon Boy wakes up in that greenhouse room, and he sees the good boy Minato on the other side of this like fountain water that he's always sitting on. He's always like sitting on the edge of this fountain, and he's like, "Who are you?" And Minato's like, "I'm." The episode ends. No, the episode doesn't end. It cuts away. But
Right.
so the girls have all the fragments now, both the ones that they had and the ones that the Demon Boy had, so they're feeling pretty good. And Subaru returns to the greenhouse, and everything in it is dead now, except for 3 little flowers that like coming out of one sprout that she sees, and she picks up the flowers and she plants them in a pot, and she's like, I miss you, Minato. And then that's the end of the episode.
Huh. Okay.
So episode 7.
Okay. Are we going to get context for that?
Kind of.
Okay. All right, I look forward to context.
So episode 7 starts with Subaru.
I'm gonna have to watch this. I'm fucking loving this. This is great. This is exactly what I want from a sci-fi anime. Just get fucking weird. I am down.
It's so fucking weird.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch this.
Excellent.
Especially if it's weird while being an ad for Subaru. Like that someone just like took and said, you know what, I'm gonna make the strangest fucking show I can.
And also a cute magical girl show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anime!
Everyone at Gainax is insane. I love it.
This is why I love anime. Only in anime would this fucking shit be possible.
Yeah, this doesn't happen anywhere else. This is exactly why it's good.
Yeah.
Because you genuinely can't predict it sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. Yeah. Anyway, episode 7. We're halfway point.
Yes.
What a clear midpoint we just hit.
Yeah, episode 6 seemed like a very almost like apocalyptic end scenario, and I had to go and check that it wasn't like a half-core anime or something. I was like, nope, but we still got 6 episodes left. Okay, all right. I guess the ship's fine for now, fucking whatever. So episode 7 starts with her going to plant the flowers in the school garden, and she's all bummed, and the girls don't know why. So she finally tells Aoi, the blue-haired girl, that she tells her about the boy and the greenhouse, and Aoi's kind of like, why the fuck didn't you tell any of us about that? Which is fair.
Because up to this point, I was wondering if that was like a conceptual thing. Like, it was just a way of showing her thinking about things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was all just metaphorical, but no, I guess it actually existed, yeah.
I think it exists in that space of like, it's half metaphorical. Because it's fiction, you can do anything.
Yeah, but then the metaphor is just like walking around and talking to the other guy and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who fucking knows?
Is the school not in space anymore?
No, the school, I guess that somehow, it's back on the ground, and like he had blasted holes in the school and they're fine. So who knows what all that was? Maybe it was in a reality marble, as fate would put it. Subaru notices Aoi has this keychain that Subaru recognizes because it's one that Subaru made, and we'll come back to that. But meanwhile, she's checking on her flower, and suddenly Minato's there, her boy, and he's in the gardening club, I guess, now, and he's a transfer student, and he's watering the plants, and she's trying to talk to him about, their time in the magical greenhouse, and he doesn't seem to understand her, but he's being like weird and vague and kind of an asshole. And who fucking knows? But they find out that the next fragment, it's even further away. It's in a comet that's heading for the sun.
Oh, shit.
So they teleport over to it, and they're like, what are we going to do? It's in all this ice. We got to break it out. Hey, the sun would break it out, but then it'll be in the fucking sun. The fight here like happens kind of on the sun's surface with, it's kind of like that level in Star Fox 64 where there's like the big pillars of fire and rings and stuff, and they fly over and under them.
Yeah, that level was a pain in the ass.
Oh god, it was the worst. And then you had to go to the water level, and that also fucking sucked.
Yeah, you have to get in the fucking submarine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but anyways.
We should do a podcast about Star Fox.
Star Fox slushy. So Demon Boy shows up, of course. And it's funny because it's kind of like Subaru and Aoi's storyline has regressed back to where they're mad at each other over the disconnect between the two versions of them again, because they come back to the whole branching memories, because Subaru has this memory of them walking in the snow, and it's the day before they said goodbye for the last time, and Aoi walked away from her, and they had never talked since then properly. But Aoi remembers it as Subaru having walked away from her, and they never talked since then properly.
Right.
And they each wonder if the other girl left because she was holding her back or something. And then there's a different flashback where one time Subaru lost her keychain that she had made, the one that we saw earlier, and Aoi had helped her find it because she's good friends. And in our Subaru's timeline, she got the keychain back and she kept it, but in Aoi's timeline, Subaru gave her the keychain because they're such good friends. So now they both have the keychain. But it's kind of weird because it's does that mean that our Subaru didn't like Aoi as much?
But is that meant to be the deliberate implication?
I don't think so. I think the idea is just that, now they both have this totem of their friendship that can, magically exist in two places at once thanks to time fuckery.
Yeah, and because they're both different versions of themselves. Than the one that you. Yeah.
So, whatever, it's weird.
Is this what the episode's revolving around, or is this just an extra thing they've chucked in?
That's the main thrust of this episode. It was about her and Aoi kind of reconciling some more, and also about her meeting new transfer student Minato.
Right,
Because then after they get this fragment and teleport back to their club room, she goes and she offers Minato the very important strawberry milk. And
of
she's
course.
like, even if you've changed somehow or you're slightly different from the one that I remember, you're still Minato. Because, so it's kind of like tied back into her thing with Aoi. And he implies that he remembers something about the key or the door to his magical room. So it implies that he does remember that, but then it's like, why is he being weirdly cagey about it and being fucking weird? I didn't understand that.
It's just confusing, but I'm sure we'll find out about it all later on.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. All right, episode 8 starts with Minato is teaching her how to garden properly.
Okay, that's wholesome.
Yeah, so now they're kind of hanging out and they're being buddy-buddy.
Is actual gardening facts?
Not really. Or no, I guess so. Because he's talking about how like the way that she planted the plants, they're not going to grow, and she has to like do them in water first, and so that they can start sprouting or something. I don't know how correct that is, but all the other girls, of course, are like behind a tree looking at him, and they're like, "What's up with this? Who's this guy?" Episode 8 is the purple hair girl episode finally.
Oh, right.
And she uses gratuitous English and other languages, and it's very cute. I like gratuitous English characters a lot of the time.
It was the one good bit of Uniyuka season 2.
Oh yeah,
Was the blonde girl saying, "Let's do it something style," or whatever it was.
yeah, kind of real life or something.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So she says like, "Oh, this feeling is poem," like warm, like a warm feeling, and the po is like from some Japanese thing. So she's making up her own terminology, and they're like poem, and she's like poem. So purple hair girl's name is Nanako. So she gets a name now that she gets her own episode.
Sorry, I do just kind of like that they can just not give her a name for that long.
No, I'm giving her a name now. They've given her a name before, but
sure.
I don't care until she gets her own episode. She's
fair
purple-haired girl
enough.
until I learn something about her, and now she's Nanako.
Okay. Fair enough.
The next fragment they find out is way fucking on the edge of the solar system, and so they talk about all the different like belts of things that exist past all of our known planets.
Oh, okay, like Cupida belt and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the only way that they can get there is if they combine all 5 drive shafts into like one flying machine, and it will take 3 months to get there. So Nanako agrees to go alone on this fucking 3-month journey. And it shows her at home with her dad, and her dad is super nice. He's like trying to make food that she'll like, and he's like, "How is this?" And she's like, "It's good." And he's like, do you have any requests for food tomorrow night? But that's when she's gonna leave on the journey, and so she's like, I was like, "Oh, he's a nice dad."
But she's just going to leave for 3 months and not tell her dad.
So here's the thing:
Okay.
the president can take her shape, but he can only say a few different lines. So he can say like, "Hi, I don't understand," or like, "Yes, okawari," like give me extras. But he can only say like 5 different things. And so that their plan is for him to take her place for 3 months, and hopefully nobody will notice.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, and Nanako insists like, "No, it'll be fine," because like she speaks so little already anyways.
Oh.
Luckily for Nanako, even though it'll feel like 3 months to them, it'll only be half a day for her because she's so close to the speed of light.
Ah, okay, right.
Yeah, so yeah, that time dilation shit.
There's going to be relativity, yeah.
Yeah, so she's like, "I'll be the one that goes there alone," and so she sets off on her journey, and everyone's all worried about her, and she's like, "It's fine being alone. Everyone's alone in the end." And it's like, "Oh, why are you so bummer zone?" And
Jesus.
so you see a flashback of her, and you find out that her mom, I guess, either divorced her dad or just kind of like they're living separately. And she took the brother that she had, and I guess Nanako stayed with her dad. And the mom and the brother travel all over the world. And that's kind of why she uses gratuitous other languages, because she likes to, I guess, like use the terms from like where they've been recently. So she like learns like things like Buenos noches and stuff. Apparently, like when they were leaving, the brother was like, "Will you come catch up with us, Nanako? Will you like join us?" And the dad was like, "Yeah, later." And she's like, "Parents, they lie. Like there was never a plan for her to go with them or anything."
Aww.
But it's also like she's like, everyone's alone in the end, but she still has a super nice dad.
Yeah, he's trying to be nice.
Yeah, I felt bad for her dad because she's just like, "I'm all alone," and he's just like doing his best. So a little while ago, she had found the president alien guy in a rock, and he was just like this beam of light kind of thing, and he only took the form that we've seen him in because it was in a drawing that her brother had sent her on a postcard of like, it's a Pleiades alien. And so that's the only reason that he looks like that and why he like kind of presents himself as like an alien from the Pleiades, because it's like a fictional construct that she had.
Oh, okay. So otherwise he's just like an energy being or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Fucking fourth dimensional shit. The plan was for her to call to them with her heart, and then they'd be able to teleport to her once she reached the star. And so it shows them like going through all these different events and whatnot without her and wishing she could be there. And then she tries to call to them, but they don't hear it, and she's like, oh, maybe it's because I, like don't want it enough. I don't want them to be here enough. So she's like, it's fine. I'll just capture the fragment alone. So she comes out of her warp speed, and the fragment is in front of this planet that nobody knows is out there, but it's just like this random planet on the edge of the solar system. And she's like, oh, you're kind of all alone, kind of like me. I'll name you Apate, which is like a god of loneliness or something, I guess. But then she starts thinking about like, oh, this planet is all alone. I wish I could show it to the other girls and let them know that it's called Apate. And then they hear that, and they're able to teleport to her. Oh. And then they can all work together, and then they can work together to get the fragment.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, she thought she didn't want them, but then, like she wanted to share her experiences with them, just like they wanted to share their experiences with her. And it's cute, but and then when they teleport back, it's the day that she left, and the alien explains that it was a possible point of return all along because that's how long it's been for her. So the other girls will have to relive the last 3 months again, but they're happy because they get to do it with her now.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and then you find out it was her birthday, and then just why not?
yeah, fuck it.
Oh, but then it's sad because there was a time where they show the president that's taken her place, and she's eating dinner at home with the dad, and he's like, so how did you feel about Blue? And the president, as her, is like, yes, give me seconds. And he's like, oh, it's fine. And he's like, yes, give me seconds. Like, because it's like a say. And then you find out it's because her dad had given her like a fancy pen to write letters with that was blue. So it's like, oh, he asked her about the very special present he gave her, and he just got like this fucking nonsense response. It must have been so upsetting for him.
Yeah. Aww.
Poor dad. But anyways, that's the end of that episode.
In the end, that timeline didn't exist.
Yes. So yeah, he probably got a proper thank you from his daughter.
Yes. Okay.
So it all works out. So then episode 9, you know what else you got to do when you have a story about girls in school?
What do you got to do?
Cultural festival.
Oh, I was going to say exams, but yes, cultural festival.
No, they do complain about that in the last episode about how they'll have to redo all their exams. But I'd be like, oh, but I could do so much better on them now.
I've already seen them.
Yeah, because I'm a fucking nerd like that.
This is one of those things where it's like, okay, in every anime, where if there's a school, there are cultural festivals.
Yeah.
Are they actually this big of a deal?
I don't know, because I only ever went to like smaller ones in my small town that weren't as fancy. I guess I wouldn't be too surprised if other schools had ones that are this fancy. They're always so elaborate in anime, though. Yeah. And I feel like there's no way that they're generally that, like fancy and elaborate.
Well, just because it's expensive.
Yeah, like and in anime they always set up like entire like maid cafes or whatever, and it's like fucking this is how you're spending your budget school.
Here that we do like school fates. There's face painting and there's weird little games. One school fate, my dad ran a game where there was just like a bunch of like old plates stuck up against a wall, and you got like a baseball you could throw at them, and if you broke one, you won a prize. Yeah,
we definitely had some events like that, but I think that was like sports day or whatnot.
Yeah. So it's all just it's like a mini carnival basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not like super fancy.
Yeah, it's not like what you see in anime. Yeah. No, hey, if they really do get that elaborate, someone send me pictures. I want to know what it's really like.
I'm sure at like some really high-end schools, they go crazy. But
yeah. Since they're supposedly the cosplay club, they're like, I guess we'll do some kind of cosplay thing where people can come and try on different cosplay outfits. And
of course.
Subaru suddenly realizes that she's the only member, or she remembers that she's in the astronomy club, but it's only her. So she's like, oh shit, I forgot, I'm in the astronomy club. But then it establishes that she's the only one in it. So I'm like, does it count?
Is that still a club?
Yeah, because in anime they're always like, we need 4 more people or our club's going to be disbanded.
The only one I can think that comes to mind then is the it's the Soccer Go Club from Nichiju.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck that club is.
Yeah, God, Nichijo's so great.
Yeah.
But the president is complaining because the club room has all these like special seals on it and whatnot to protect the fragments. So if they're going to be letting a bunch of people in, it's going to be dangerous and Demon Boy might find them. So they decide to hide the fragments for now in the planetarium where Subaru will be, because they're probably not as many people will go there, and
Aww.
yeah, and we'll just mask them in their own way, and so whatever.
It's kind of funny that they have a whole planetarium, but no one's in the astronomy club.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Planetariums are a big deal.
But like they go to the planetarium, and this is why I feel like they might have translated it as the wrong word, because I don't see any equipment or whatnot in there for like actual planetarium shit. Because her thing that she's going to do is she's going to make like a rotating lamp thing where you like poke holes so that, it looks like the constellations on the walls.
Oh,
so it's like, I guess they must not have any like projection equipment or whatnot.
No, they don't have an actual planetarium.
I think it's just a big like room on top of the school.
Do we ever like find out what Demon Boy does day to day? Like if he goes to a different school or something?
There's one episode, I think it's the episode where the giant ring appeared above the earth, that shows him like he's sleeping in a cloud.
Oh, okay. He's genuinely otherworldly. Like he's not just like a magical boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was convinced it was going to be the kind of thing where like the greenhouse boy turns into him, but neither form remembers the other one. But they exist separately. So yeah, he just hangs out and waits for fragments to show up. But her boy, the good boy, Minato, he's helping her with her planetarium setup because he's like, hey, you helped me with the gardening, I'll help you with this. But he's still being like a little kudere. And they test the lamp and she's like, it's not really like the real space. Which I guess is like, like I've seen plenty of that now.
I've been to actual space.
Yeah. But then he's like, do you want to go to actual space? And she's like, buh. And then he takes her on a romantic space journey. And they're like, he's showing her different space places. And he's like, see, this is...
I can show you the world.
I can show you the universe. But Subaru gets like really overwhelmed by just like the sheer vastness of space.
Which
shit. Mood. Yeah, I was just having an existential crisis.
You were trying to be romantic with your date, but you accidentally gave them an existential crisis.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, do you not like it? And she's like, no, it's good and beautiful. It's just a bit overwhelming. And then he tells her that she'll forget that this happened because he's like breaking the laws of the universe to show her all this. So they have to forget it to go back. Fucking whatever.
So why'd you bother doing it?
Because it's romantic.
I suppose.
So suddenly she remembers that when she was a kid, she would visit her mom in the hospital. Her mom's fine now, which I just realized that, because normally that's a situation where you would assume that the mom died of an anime disease.
Yeah.
But I guess she got better.
Anime wasting disease.
Yeah. People can get better from being in the hospital. I don't understand. But while she would visit her mom in the hospital, one day she met a little boy there who was her age, who looks like him, obviously. He has like the long red hair. And she would go visit him every time she visited her mom, and they would hang out. But then like one day he wasn't there anymore.
Oh.
And he also remembers meeting her way back then, but they both kind of remembered it and thought it was like a dream. And they're like, oh, but that was me, it really happened. And then they kiss, but it's like it cuts off right before they kiss, but it's like very clear they made it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so how old were they meant to be then?
When they were little kids.
Or when they kissed?
They kiss currently. They kiss in their current time when they're hanging out in space thinking about being kids. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
Because they're like watching a fucking planet go supernova, and she's like overwhelmed by the brightness of it, and then, like as the white is overtaking the screen, they like clearly lean in for a kiss.
Oh, okay.
Or a choo.
So they're doing a little bit of romance in this.
Yeah. No, yeah, this was another surprising thing about this is like it's so rare to see a moe anime with like a played straight heterosexual romance, because they always want to leave like the Yuri and also the you could have her potentials open usually.
Yeah, or they want to do the lesbian tease.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, whoa, this is just a fucking played straight romance. Okay, huh. This is nostalgic.
Haven't seen this shit since Sailor Moon.
Yeah, it's been a while. So they are back in the club room now because they had to go back and, she's supposed to forget about everything, but she's crying and she can't remember why. And so she goes to head home and Minato says he'll lock up for her. But then suddenly the fragments that are hidden in the planetarium react to him and he turns into Demon Boy. So now he is in the same body with Demon Boy, I guess.
Okay.
I guess now they're fucking whatever.
Now they're the same person. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So who is he? Who was he before? What?
Wait, but I guess the version that we saw in the clouds was before they had that meeting in the club room. So maybe somehow by them combining is how Minato was able to leave that. I mean the greenhouse.
Right.
Maybe.
Okay, so we don't find out, or we haven't found out yet.
You'll see. We're gonna get a Minato flashback episode that's really weird soon.
Okay.
Oh, it's a classic. It's episode 10 where it happens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is the appropriate moment these days.
Yeah. All right, so she's walking, so she's leaving, but then she transforms, and so it's like, oh, that emergency thing is activated. What happened? Are the fragments okay? So she goes back up, and now he's Demon Boy, and he's like, these are my fragments now. And he takes... And the girls all show up and they're like, whoa, it's the Demon Boy. And she's like, no, but it's Minato. I don't understand. I'm very surprised by this because I'm stupid. So they want to go after him because he's like, there's only one fragment left. I'm going to go get it. But because they don't have all the fragments now, they're back to like what their power level was at the beginning of the show.
Oh, shit.
But they said that if they do the combined 5 drive shaft thing, one person should be able to catch up with him. So of course she goes. So now we get Minato's origin story flashback.
Okay.
And so he's a boy in a hospital bed. He's like one of those sick anime kids that lives in a hospital. And
Sure.
One night, a little space boy, like a boy in like goggles and a big scarf and stuff, snuck into his room because he was looking for something that was lying on the floor that's called a crystallized potential that looks like a little like piece of broken sugar candy or something. And Minato can see him, and the little boy's surprised by that. And he's like, most people can't see me. I'm an alien, and I'm collecting these shards for my ship. And so he asks Minato to give him a name, and Minato names him Elneth, which is, I guess, is some space thing. I forgot what. And Minato's like, I can help you collect these fragments. I can do it with you. And so he becomes a magical boy, and it's very like Little Prince aesthetic. And it's kind of cute.
Okay.
So he's helping Elnath collect these fragments, and the fragments are the collection of like all the possibilities of a person that like never came to fruition.
Oh, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah. And that's like acknowledged by Minato later.
So hang on. So this alien boy cured whatever his disease was, I guess?
I guess as long as he's doing like magical stuff transformed, he's able to run around and do whatever, but then he has to like go back to the hospital.
Okay.
I guess because those fragments are the fuel for the spaceship, or at least can work as the fuel.
I guess that makes sense thematically if their whole thing is that they explore every possibility that could occur.
Yeah.
It runs on discarded possibilities in a way.
Yeah. So Minato sees a piece.
Oh, this is so conceptual.
Right?
It's great. It's so good.
How did this happen?
Thank you, Subaru.
Yeah, thanks, Subaru. So Minato sees one of the engine fragments flying through the sky, and he's like, oh, I can help you. I can go get that. And Elneth is like, no, I don't have like enough power to like help let you do that. You'll like run out of magical power. And he's like, no, I can do it. It's fine. But then it is too much, and the magic spell breaks. And then it cuts to both of them looking at Minato in a coma. And apparently he was in a coma the whole time, but somehow the little boy guy had changed had like cast a spell on him or changed his fate or whatever to where he was just sick in bed. But then I don't understand how the initial meeting happened where he was surprised that he had been seen and stuff.
Yeah. So like, yeah.
It's just what a twist. You're in a coma the whole time somehow.
So initially he was in a coma.
Yeah.
And then the alien boy like changed his fate so he was not in a coma but still in hospital, and then they had their meeting. If you were looking at it chronologically, that's what happened.
I guess.
So what was the consequence of him overusing his power?
Now he can't exist in this special place anymore, and he just has to be a coma boy.
Oh, he has to go back to being in a coma.
Yeah, but he's like, but if I get that engine fragment, I can choose from the possibilities of the past and change my fate.
Right.
And the little boy is like, no, you can't do that. It'll turn you into a curse because you can't deny your present. Like, it should only be used for the future. So little Prince Minato is like flying to it, and you see him getting like all like darkness is overtaking him or whatever. And so now he's like this cursed existence guy, and that's what Demon Boy is. But meanwhile, there was another version of him that was like not the coma one, but not the one that became the demon, that fell asleep until he woke up in the greenhouse when the girl opened the door. That I guess is like his good side or whatever.
Okay, so he was sort of split in half.
Yeah, but I guess 3 pieces if you count coma version.
Yeah, there's the one in the coma, but he's not doing a lot.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about that guy.
If we use that princess, play from earlier and the whole thing about wishing for possibilities.
Yes.
I guess this makes the magical girls kind of the prince in this role.
Yes, because you find out that he wants to use the fragments to disappear.
Aww.
So he's like that princess because he's like, I don't want to be fated to be like in this coma for just my entire life. I'd rather not exist.
Right. So he doesn't want to just die.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to work out. Just dying isn't it an option?
Well, I guess because if he's the coma boy, he doesn't have the power to end his own life in any way. So he's trying to like prevent that reality from existing.
The Minato who existed in the greenhouse was maybe only in like a dreamscape, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he is the guy in the coma.
Probably.
Yeah, so like the demon boy is the one from the timeline where the alien changed his fate.
Yes, but also Subaru also remembers meeting him, and they remember meeting each other, which was clearly in a timeline where he was in the bed but not in a coma. But in her world, he's definitely in a coma.
So when she met him, that might have been her meeting what ended up being the demon boy.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
But it's all the same boy, but kind of,
But it's two versions of the same boy in a way.
Yeah. Fucking conceptual ass shit.
Yeah, and this has already sort of been explored by the idea that she has a best friend who is not quite the best friend she knew, but still her best friend.
Yeah.
So like they're not quite the same person, but they're still roughly the same person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, this is
some fucking slider shit.
Oh, I've got to watch this. This is my shit.
Yeah, nice. Oh, when the little alien boy had tried to stop him from like becoming all cursed and going for that thing, he had like said like, "You're just an illusion too," and he hit the little boy and he turned into energy and like went flying.
Right.
Meanwhile in the present, Subaru is meeting up with Demon Boy in space. And
yes.
she's like, you need to not. And she's trying to.
I know we just spent a bunch of time explaining your backstory, but can you not, please?
Yeah, and she wants him to like, she's like, remember your Minato and remember your relationship with me and all that. And so she like starts de-transforming herself, which is funny because she like undoes the ribbon on her shirt and like it's like she's undressing. It's kind of weird, but at least like it only gets to like undoing the ribbons and then she's back in her normal outfit.
Right. Okay.
So he's like, "What are you doing? You won't live out here." And she's like, "You gotta remember, it's me and you're you." And he's like, "It's too late for me." And so he traps her in a bubble, and then the engine fragment materializes and stabs him with one of its big spikes, like right through his torso.
Oh shit. Wow.
Which I don't know why that had to happen, to be honest, because it doesn't really change much. It's just so like, whoa.
Yeah, like why did that happen? What caused the engine to spike him?
It's one of the most rando things that happens out of all the strange things that happen in this show. I don't know. Before he dies, he says, like, you'll never succeed at getting the last fragment after this one because you don't actually want to get all the fragments. You just want to keep on like this forever. And you're scared of this, like, journey coming to an end. So he says that, and then he, like, disappears or whatever, but he sends her back to Earth with the 12 fragments that they have. And they're like, oh, good job, Subaru, you did it. And obviously she's all fucking sad. But they only need one more. It'll be fine. Episode 11, you find out she can't transform anymore and she can't see the president.
Oh, okay.
And the president is like, well, if that happens, it must mean that she no longer is at that state where she has all these interlocking potentials and she's like, collapse that waveform and become something, but we don't know what.
Oh, okay.
So it's like,
So her fate is set now.
yeah, or something like that. But the cultural festival must go on. So she does her like little planetarium presentation, and her parents are there, and they're like, "Oh, we're so proud of you. You've really changed, haven't you?" Which makes her cry. And they're like, "Oh, what? Did we say something bad?" And she's like, "Bleh." And she goes to the vending machine to get her Ichigo milk, but they don't have any. She has to settle for banana milk. It's so tragic.
The worst part of all.
Oh, but banana milk's so freaking good. They used to sell Nestle like banana milk powder here, but you can't get it anymore. It doesn't exist.
Really? We that's a permanent fixture of the flavored milks here.
God damn it.
Australia may be a nirvana of chocolate milk. I'm not sure, but like we've always had Big M, which was the main one, but now there's like 4 other brands that all do different sort of flavored milks. And there's some that are more like thick shakes that you can shake up a bit, and like there's bigger ones, a smaller ones. Some of them are sort of like slightly energy drinky, but not like in an awful way. And then like in Christmas, Big M released like a line of 12 other flavors they don't normally do. Like
the fuck?
Like they do this weird eggnog type one, but they've also got like a mint one that's actually really good.
And steal all your chocolate milk. Cause I remember one time I actually went to Amazon and I was like, fucking Nestle banana milk mix must exist somewhere still. And I ordered it and it was like, this will take like 8 weeks to start delivery. And it was like some super sus service and it never came and I had to get a refund and I was like, God damn it.
That is some bullshit.
So Subaru, you appreciate your banana milk, bitch. It's very good. You don't know what you have.
Cube, I feel like you're bringing a bit more of yourself to the show right now than is probably intentional.
Subaru, I'll kill you.
You know what I want to find? I want to find a way to order Kit Kats from Japan because they have all those crazy flavors.
Oh hell yeah, yeah! They fucking love Kit Kats.
Yeah. But like, there's all those different flavors. Whereas here, it's just a Kit Kat is a Kit Kat.
Yeah, but a lot of their flavors are fucking gross. It's like sake flavored Kit Kat.
Oh, like durian Kit Kats or something.
Probably. Why not? Yeah. There's many reasons why not. So the other 4 girls are like, we've detected the last fragment, so we'll go, and we promise we'll come back safely, and we're sorry you can't come, Subaru, but you don't got magic anymore.
Aww.
And Subaru's all sad.
When they transform, can she not see them now?
That's a good question. I guess she can. Yeah, you're right, because she's talking to Aoi in this like gazebo, and then suddenly Aoi disappears, and that must be because she transformed, but she's still right there. I didn't think about that.
Was it an emergency transformation or?
No, she just transformed. She's like, I'm leaving now.
And she's being left behind again. So that's back. That's
But then there's a little moment of hope because she's back where like she had planted the flowers, and this random boy that had been a classmate of Minato's remembers him. He's like, hey, where's that boy that like you guys were always hanging out, right? And she's really emotional about it. And he's like, what?
If you're that kid, you've just got to assume, oh fuck, he's dead, isn't he?
Yeah.
He died, didn't he?
Yeah, he's like, he's gone. Oh, that's fucking weird. But yeah. When she start like, no. But she like moves some brush aside and she's able to find the flowers that they planted together. So it's like he still exists kind of in some way. God damn it. So meanwhile, the other girls are teleporting like ridiculously far away. They're like in different galaxies and whatnot. And they're kind of doing leaps so that they end up in different places.
How can they do that if they don't have all the engine fragments?
They do have all the engine fragments now because she came back with all of them from her meeting with the demon boy.
No, you're right. Okay, yes, of course.
Yeah, so now they're stupid fucking powerful. And they're kind of talking about how they like are mixed between this emotions of wanting to change but also not wanting to change too much. You know, like they don't want they want things to stay the way they are now, but they don't want to not change. It's change. And now that the girl has her hope, she goes to I guess either the same vending machine or another vending machine, and she's able to get the strawberry milk now. I just love the idea of banana milk being this signifier of like a shitty timeline or something.
This is the worst timeline. Nothing but fucking banana milk.
I'll kill you, Super. How dare you? So she opens a door in the school, and she's not transported to the greenhouse. She's transported to the room where he's in a coma.
Oh.
And she sees him, and under his hand is this origami star that she had given the kid him that she hung out with, but somehow now coma him has it, and that gives her like hope or whatever. So she transforms into a new magical form that is like black and more like princessy, I guess.
Oh, here we go. New forms. Shit's getting real.
Oh, fuck. Now that she has like her belief magic or whatever back, she can see him, and he's in the bed, and he looks kind of like what a boy version of their uniform would look like, and he has his own drive shaft, and he's like, I guess I'm fine or whatever. And and so she teleports to where everyone else is on the fucking edge of space, and episode 12 starts.
Wait, so hang on, they don't spend any time on that.
It goes by pretty quick.
Right.
There isn't really a like I can't believe you're dead moment or anything, because obviously all these versions of him exist at once. So I guess this version that looks like he has the uniform that's like theirs is the projection specifically of Coma Boy that kind of remembers her.
Yeah. Or it's like it's another version of him, or Minato that she knew wasn't actually absorbed by the demon kid.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Or it's like Sleepy Boy version.
Well, because I guess technically this kid was still in the greenhouse room, but this time it was the hospital room.
Yeah.
Because whatever that space is.
Maybe.
Or something. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Look, you watched it. I don't know.
It's just fucking weird. And hey, so the last fragment is trying to escape the universe through a black hole. So they each need to use 2 of the fragments, and they kind of like spin it around themselves, and they're like, each of us do this, and then we'll create like a mini black hole, and then we'll all pull the black hole apart from different sides and pull the fragment out of it somehow. And they refer to Hawking radiation and stuff, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this isn't science. You can't fool me.
Hawking radiation is the thing.
Yeah. I don't know if that means that you can do this.
Well, no, it's a thing that's connected to black holes.
Yes. I'm definitely not an expert on Hawking radiation, but I'm pretty sure you don't spin 2 Compazos stars around to make another black hole, and then you can pull stuff out of it. But they don't have quite enough people because they have 5 girls, but there's 2 more engine fragments that got to spin around and make a thing. They need 1 more person. So Subaru's like, well, if I got pulled over here, he's probably around here somewhere. And she looks deeper into the black hole, and of course he's there.
Oh.
And so she goes over to him, and she's like, hey, you can't do this. You gotta not. And he's like, I'm gonna use the fragments, and I'm gonna escape this universe, and maybe I'll find a better universe for me and these like little people fragments that I still have with me. And it sucks too much to like have all this lost potential, and it's too sad, and I'd rather die or like I'd rather risk whatever will happen to me if I enter this black hole. And she's like, look, you're definitely here, and I'm definitely here, and it's fine, and I like you a lot. And she kisses him, and everybody sees him kiss, and they're all like, oh, blush. And he's like, buh. And he's like, fine, then I'll help you all do stuff. It's all doki doki.
Aww.
And so the ship is starting to materialize, but I guess this time it's a good thing, because they almost have all the fragments they need to like do what they need to do with it or whatever.
Where is the president right now?
The president is with the other girls. He's still hanging out on Purple Girl like he usually does.
Oh, okay.
But then when she brings Minato back with her, president turns into the little boy version that Minato knew. And they're like, whoa, okay. The president's like a human now? And he's like, hey, what's up? And they're like, he can talk, oh, geez, that kind of thing.
It's a question of why he didn't do that from the start. It would have been much more convenient for Purple Girl, but oh well.
Yeah, maybe Minato had like a stronger imagination that allowed him to speak. Maybe it's just because she imagined him as an alien who would speak like that. Like, beep, 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 beep.
You're a fucking idiot. This is why I'm stuck in this form.
Yeah. She imagined someone that only she could talk to, which I guess is like, it like ties in with like her loneliness and whatnot, It's like thematic.
She really wanted a friend, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, think about it, man.
Conceptual.
So they all do the things with the fragments to pull the fragment out of the black hole, and then like darkness overtakes everything, and you know, it's like one of those things where they like enter a black void, and it's like, what happened? And the president says that at the last minute before they would have gotten eaten by the black hole, all the fragments combined, and now the engine's fine. And he realized that even if they can't find a way to survive in this universe, they'll go to another universe, and maybe there's another universe out there that they'll be able to survive in. So his ship is going to leave for other universes.
Right.
And so that happens. And as a reward, or like as a thank you, the aliens send them back to primordial soup time of Earth. And they're like, from here you can choose any destiny you want, like of all the possibilities that could exist for you. And of course, because they've learned such a important lesson about themselves, they all want to exist exactly as they were.
Way to fucking blow an incredible opportunity.
I know. It's like, at least give yourself some more fucking money, dumb kids. You don't know how useful that is yet. It's important. Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Give yourself a really popular Twitter account, for fuck's sake.
Hell yeah. No, don't do that to yourself.
No, okay, yeah, no, you're right.
Be rich in obscurity. So... yeah, they choose to be themselves as they are, but it's funny because the girls are all holding hands and they're talking about like all the ways that they've affected each other and wanted to be like each other. And here's why Itsuki is the worst one, because it's like, oh, I was jealous of how purple-haired girl, she's like always does things at her own pace. Well, I was jealous of how Aoi was always so direct. I was jealous of Itsuki's beautiful hair. Which feels like such a neg.
Yeah, it does. It does.
You know what I really like about you? Your hair. It's good hair.
Yeah, your hair was nice.
Yeah, very soft.
Sorry, I just remembered. In high school once, we had like this religious education class that didn't really talk about religion much. It was just like it was a reverend whose job was to try and just get us to be nice to each other.
Nice.
So one time he did this exercise where we had to pass around a piece of paper and everyone had to write something nice about that person.
Oh no!
Paper, so I came back to them. Yeah, it didn't go well because there was this one really short kid called Trevor who just was kind of a shit.
Yeah.
And he got his page back and just yelled. So it wasn't just like private for him. He had to let everyone know, hey, who wrote Trevor as a bum fluff?
Bum fluff?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, kind of. Something tiny. Like
bum fluff?
Kind of like, like belly button lint, like that, but from your butt crack. So you're a bum fluff.
God damn it, Australianisms and UKisms are so much better. Bum fluff.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't force people to say something nice about people.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll come up dry. Or just call someone a bum fluff.
Yeah, you're gonna get those bum fluffs. It's goofy. But meanwhile, Minato is still planning to disappear. So all of the girls...
Wait, hang on. He has the option to not be in a coma now, doesn't he?
He seems to not get to do what he wants. I guess the aliens were like, fuck you.
I mean, he did kind of dick them, I guess, didn't he?
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. He yeah, because it's just like the girls all get to choose and they all have that dramatic, like, I'll choose to be as I am now. But then he's just like, yeah, I guess I'm just going to die. So when the girls all choose that, they all find themselves alone now because, like in their original universe, they didn't know each other. And they're all from like these different timelines.
Mm.
But Subaru is still with Minato. And she's like, look, you have to come back to be in my timeline. Even if you're in a coma, I'm sure it'll be okay somehow. She's like, how long will it take for a few billion years to pass for it to catch up? And he's like, it's just you just close your eyes and it'll happen. So Subaru wakes up and she's back in her normal life. And there's a meteor viewing tonight. So she's going to go see it, but she sees Aoi. But Aoi is once again in the other school uniform for the other school that she went to. But this time she makes herself go talk to her. And they're like, oh, hey, how have you been? And it's kind of awkward. And it's cute because she has that other friend now who's like clearly jealous of Subaru. She's like, who's this? Subaru invites her to the meteor shower viewing. And you find out that Aoi, the only reason she didn't tell her that she was moving schools was because she was embarrassed that the only reason she was choosing a different school was because she thought the uniform was cuter.
Aww.
Which I do like that as she assumed that like all these negative things about herself for why she chose to go to a different school, but it was just something really silly.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't personal at all.
Yeah, they're just middle school boys. And so Aoi's like, maybe I'll go to that. And they're walking off, and the other girl hisses at her like a cat. And then Subaru's like, fine, hiss. Like she hisses back, and it's cute. But then like she's got all these pamphlets to invite people to the meteor shower viewing, and a bunch of them fly off in the wind, and you see other people catch them. And there's like yellow-haired girl, but she looks a little different. She's in a different uniform, and like black-haired girl, but her hair's short. So it's like, oh, less hair to be jealous of, I guess.
Maybe she developed a personality.
Oh no! So even though there are all these, like different versions of themselves, that they'll all get to go to the meteor shower viewing, and it's like maybe they, on some subconscious level, remember each other.
Maybe there is the possibility.
Yes, somewhere out there. And then you see Coma Boy, and he's crying, like you see tears on Coma Boy, but he doesn't wake up. and the show fucking ends, and like with like all of them looking up at the stars,
except for Coma Boy because he's in a coma.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I guess I don't know if the intention was, like, oh, if he can cry, then maybe he's a little more conscious now.
Yeah,
but it definitely seemed like she like went through all this rigmarole to convince him to believe in life, and he's still fucking stuck in a coma.
I mean, maybe that was meant to be an indication that he's woken up or something.
Yeah, I want to choose to believe that, because otherwise that fucking sucks.
Yeah, otherwise, no, he's just locked in. Yeah, cool, rad.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. But yeah, and then that's the end of the show.
Wow.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, that, again, this sounds like my shit. I'm definitely going to watch this.
Yeah, awesome.
That was really interesting and felt like it had an idea. That whole thing about like different possibilities for your life, and you know what else? It felt like a coming of age story.
Yeah, because he even like points out like one of the reasons that he chose all them was that they're at this crossroads where like they're not quite adults and not quite kids, so it like kind of ties in that whole excuse for them being the age that they are and whatnot.
Yeah, but it is also a thing about choosing a path and changing as a person and that part of growing up, and it's like, yeah, this is a good metaphor. This is actually interesting.
Yeah, because there is a kind of magic to that. To the it's like, as you're in middle school, you can do anything you want. You have your whole future ahead of you. Who knows what you're going to be?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. That's cool ideas, and they made it quite interesting. Yeah. No, this is good. This is good anime.
So we finally found the good post-Madoka Magical Girls show. Thank you, Subaru.
Thank you, Subaru.
Thank you, fucking car company, for bringing us some genuine Mahos. What the fuck world is this?
Well, they talk about how like the whole idea of distinct possibilities, and you don't know where these things are going to come from. This is the one universe where there was a decent post-Madoka show. Was the one where Subaru made one.
Yes, they collapsed that possibility. They found it.
It was such a small possibility that somehow someone at Subaru secured funding for a fucking Maho show, and it was a good one.
They're like, we don't care what it's about, just please show hubcaps in it.
I kind of want to find out if this is a more common thing with like corporations commissioning a show. Like not necessarily a Magical Girl show, but just like a anime in general. As like a sort of a slight tie-in promotional?
They'll have sponsors, like how Code Geass was sponsored by Pizza Hut, and they would eat Pizza Hut a lot in the show.
Yeah.
So what's really funny in that apparently they paid for it to show up once, but then they just kept putting it in the show because they thought it was really funny.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah, and obviously like Tiger and Bunny had the fact that everyone was covered in different promotions as like part of the in-universe thing going on, but they like actually had real promotions like Dr. Pepper and whatnot. But this one's so direct in terms of this is the Subaru anime.
Yeah, it's like an arrangement from a previous era. Like it's like 50s American TV where it was very directly funded. Like this corporation is paying for this show.
Yeah, like you'd think that it would have like very specific ads between every break for Subaru.
Yeah. Or then we get the bumpers at the front and the end of the show to have like a quick message or something. And it was that old arrangement of once we paid for the show and we get the ad spots, we don't care what you do as long as the show's popular and people like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I do want to find. I kind of want to research to see if this is a more common thing because it seems fucking bizarre.
Yeah, I can't think of any other examples like that, but yeah.
But the thing is, like in the end, sponsorship does pay for these shows indirectly all the time.
Oh yeah,
that's where the money for the commissioning comes from in the end. But no, it's not usually direct. Like it's not usually like a very direct commission to buy this company.
Yeah, usually it doesn't start the show and it's like Gainax X Subaru.
Yeah. it's not that directly connected, which is what intrigues me. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, that was good.
Yeah.
That was really fucking good. Yeah.
That was a nice story time.
Obviously, I enjoyed hearing about it, but you dug it too, right?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Like, at first, it seemed a little more generic and, like, just kind of confusing. But, like, the weirder shit got, I was like, wow, you're really just, like, going for it with all these weird concepts. Ah, it is cool. And, like, I skipped over a lot of the, like, weird visual stuff they do with space and the way that they're, like, trying to get the fragments and stuff. It's all very, again, it's just so not straightforward. And it's cool. It's cool seeing them like fucking around trying different weird things.
Is that a Gainax thing? Are they just more willing to be a bit out there?
Yeah, what is I didn't see it made me remember like what the fuck else has Gainax been doing? Cuz like ever since Gurren Lagann, I don't know what they do. Wish Upon the Pleiades was the last TV show that's credited to them.
Huh. Oh, what, since then they've just been doing Ava, I guess?
I guess, wait, because, yeah, TV series, last one was Wish Upon a Pleiades. What the fuck? Films, Zero Century, 3-part movie series, 2020 to 2026. That's too far in the future. You're not allowed to announce movies for then.
Well, I mean,
Don't make me think about the 2020. No!
Production would have started, but they used to do more TV. Pre-Eva and then after Eva as well, they were doing television.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they've been doing. Wait, but this doesn't even... Oh, wait, yeah, there's a rebuild of Evangelion, because it's 2007 to present, of course. But yeah, besides that, for the last... Since 2015, they don't have any other listed projects on Wiki.
Yeah, huh.
Weird. Because, I know a lot of their people, like, left to Studio Trigger and whatnot. I wonder if they've just been kind of sleeping.
Yeah, maybe.
Besides, working on Eva.
Yeah, but just having people slave away at that.
Which is forever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that could have been why Rebuild happened, was that they had a bit of a brain drain and were like, well, fuck, we need to make some money.
Yeah,
well,
you know what makes fucking money?
Yeah, time to crank up the S2 engine.
Well, that's Wish Upon a Pleiades. I guess if you want to get a studio that's mostly dead to make a really cool show for you, you just need that fucking car money.
But yeah, watch it, I guess, is the recommendation, yeah?
Yeah, check it out.
Check it out? Yeah. Huh. Well, there you go.
Anime.
They sound like some good fucking anime.
Hey, you gotta watch some fucking anime.
Yeah, I'll watch some anime next.
What you gonna watch?
That's a good question.
We both gotta watch Lane. We gotta talk about Lane together.
Yeah, well, that might be next. I'll watch Lane now that I've got access to it, and we can maybe talk about that next.
Yeah.
That was an option. Psychopath was an option. It
Yeah.
was something I was going to watch on my own. I don't know, because everything I've been looking at lately has been like the stuff that's coming out now, so I can't watch all of it.
Yeah, we'll be able to check in later.
Well, actually, you know what? I could do?
So,
I could watch the Horse Girl anime.
you could watch that Horse Girl anime, but definitely don't watch it before Lane, though. We gotta have some priorities here. Order of operations: Lane, then trashy Horse Girls.
That seems sensible.
Yeah, good job, team.
Yes.
I hope you all have a wonderful day. I guess give us a nice rating on iTunes if you want. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, that helps people find it and maybe gets us featured in New and Noteworthy, which would be really good. So,
Ayy.
yeah, doesn't have to be a full review. Even just a rating on iTunes is.
Yeah, and then you can be like, "Hey, anime," as the body of your review. Well, have a good anime, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.